Next on 7 News at noon.
We're following breaking news at noon. Police saying an elderly driver hit 2 children this morning in Medfield. We are live.
And another accident, this one in Brighton. Witnesses saying a man was hit while putting a baby in a car seat.
Plus, new details in the Michael Jackson investigation. The LAPD is now treating the pop star's death as a homicide.
And the sun is shining out there, but we do have a front that's going to move in and give us some showers for tomorrow.
All that and much more.
It's coming up next at noon.
This is 7 News at noon.
We start at noon with breaking news. Sky 7 with live pictures over Medfield, where police say an elderly driver hit 2 children. The car that person was driving was just in that crosswalk seconds ago. Both children were rushed to the hospital.
And we don't know their conditions right now, but it is all going on in Medfield, as we said, on Spring Street there. Let's get right to 7's Linda Ergus. She's live on the scene with the latest. Linda, what do we know?
Well, I just finished up with the police chief here in Medfield. He did break everything down for us, so here is how things played out. Apparently, this elderly driver is a woman. She is in her 80s. She was at 9 o'clock Mass. I want to pan over right here and show you she was at Church of St. Edward's. She then came out of this driveway. She parked right here, slowly was creeping, making a left through the crosswalk. In the crosswalk, a grandmother and her 2 grandchildren, 2 boys, a 5-year-old little one that she was walking in the crosswalk, a 2-year-old little one in a carriage. Apparently, the vehicle hit the carriage then falling over. As for injuries, the 2-year-old rushed to Norwood Hospital. I'm being told that child will be taken to Children's Hospital. That child has facial injuries, again, according to the police chief. As for the 5-year-old and the grandmother, they are actually doing very well. They were taken by a cruiser to the hospital simply to get checked out. Now, as for this elderly woman, apparently she was very upset about what happened, but she is fine. She was not taken to the hospital. Again, that elderly woman just fine. Apparently her husband came to the scene, did pick her up, and brought her home. At this point, it is far too early to tell if charges will be filed. When we arrived on scene, I do want to tell you that we saw the vehicle that this driver was in, and state police was testing the brakes, driving very quickly, then slamming on the brakes, trying to understand if this may have been a mechanical issue. Again, I'm just going to rewind a little bit. Elderly driver leaving church. She was at 9 o'clock Mass. It was just before 10. She was leaving. She stopped here, apparently was creeping, making a left, and hit a grandmother and her 2 grandchildren. We, of course, are here all day. We'll cover this for you. We'll break it down. We'll be back at 12:30. So for now, we're live in Medfield. Linda Ergus, 7 News.
We continue to follow that breaking news out of Medfield. Sky 7 over Medfield earlier, where police say an elderly driver hit 2 children. Both children were taken to the hospital.
It's all going on Spring Street. Let's get right to 7's Linda Ergus. She's live on the scene. She has an update for us. Linda.
Police saying this driver is a woman. She is in her 80s. This accident happening right here at this corner. Now, to back up a little bit, to my left is actually a parking lot to a local church, St. Edward's Church. The elderly woman leaving church just before 10 o'clock. Apparently, she was at 9 o'clock Mass. She stopped here, was ready to make a left. She attempted to make her left, and that is when authorities say she struck a grandmother and her 2 grandchildren. Now, investigators saying the grandmother was crossing the street in the crosswalk. She had her 5-year-old grandson on one side. He was walking. She had her 2-year-old grandson in a stroller. Apparently, the stroller hit the ground. The child still strapped in. Injuries were told mainly to his face. He was rushed to Norwood Hospital. Now, as for the 5-year-old and the grandmother, police say they believe they were fine. It was a police officer who took them to a hospital just to get checked out, though. Now, as for the driver, she is fine. She was not taken to the hospital. Her husband called to the scene to bring her home.
She was upset, you know, very sad about the whole thing, very cooperative, very helpful with us, obviously very shaken up, but, you know, in control of her emotions. But, you know, she's teary-eyed and upset over the whole event, as any person would be.
Now, I do want to back up. When we arrived on scene, we noticed that state police were testing this woman's vehicle. They were in the vehicle, they were driving very fast and then slamming on the brakes. The explanation there, clearly, that they're testing the brakes to see if there was some sort of mechanical problem. I did ask authorities about the speed. At this point, they don't know, but I was told sort of preliminarily that this vehicle was just creeping along, barely going, 5-10 miles an hour. So really what transpired there is up in the air. Of course, authorities will be speaking with this woman at some point later today or in the coming days. Right now, it is far too early to tell if charges will be filed. We're live in Medfield. Linda Urgis, 7 News.